Hey everyone, hope you all are well. I'm beginning by priming the eyes today with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I'm just adding a few swipes of this across the eye area, and then I'm taking the Wet n Wild P15 brush and I'm using this to buff and blend that primer into the skin anywhere that I'll be adding product. And this will just ensure that our products adhere well to the eyes, it'll prevent them from creasing, and it'll ensure they last all day long as well. So today we're not using any eyeshadows at all. We're going to create a look solely using concealer. And the first one I'm taking is the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. For this look, all you need is two. One that's lighter than your skin tone to add a bit of brightness, and then one that's a good bit deeper than your skin tone to add some depth to the look. The L'Oreal one is one of my favourites. I've gone through umpteen tubes of it. It's got great coverage to it, it doesn't look cakey, and it lasts really well too. So I've just added this on the inner half of the eyelid, and then I've blended it out with a double-ended brush that came with the Naked Honey palette, and I'm using all synthetic brushes today because we are working with liquid/cream products. Now I'm taking the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Dark Spots Concealer in the shade Deep Neutral. This concealer is also really nice because it's a concealer and a serum combined. It's got hyaluronic acid in it, so it's nice and hydrating, and it's a buildable medium coverage concealer, so it's great for this look today. So like I would with eyeshadow, especially when I'm using a deeper tone, I'm doing the same thing here with the concealer. I'm just going through a process of layering. So I'm literally applying a little dot to begin with, and then I'm blending it out. So initially I'm just going to start to map out the shape, and then I can worry about building up the intensity and, making sure it's nice and blended in a bit. So I've dabbed the concealer down on the outer third of the lid. I've blended it up from there to the crease. I've extended it and winged it out on the outer edge towards the tail of the brow, and then I'm just pulling it back in across the lid. I'm going back in with the concealer now and adding a little bit more to the outer edge, and then I'm blending from there. The focus with this one is the outer portion of the eye. That's where I want my depth. But once I've got the bulk of the concealer faded out, I do bring what's left on my brush across the rest of the crease towards the inner corner of the eye, just to make sure that it's blended out. And for this look, it doesn't really matter which concealer you use, the brand is completely irrelevant. You just want to make sure that you pick one that's consistency-wise more on the fluid side. If you pick one that's very full coverage, it's going to be hard to move around and blend. And because it's going on the eyes, there's more of a chance of it sinking into folds and creasing. A medium coverage concealer would be the preferred because you're going to be able to work with it in terms of moving it around and blending it, but it is going to be apparent on the lids. So something that's too lightweight isn't going to have the same impact, or for it to be apparent, you're going to have to really layer it up, and it's just not worth the hassle, and you can actually have creasing with that way too. So medium coverage is the way to go. So I've built up now a nice light couple of layers with this concealer. I'm happy with how it looks. So I'm flipping the brush around, and I'm using the dense smudger end to run alongside the edge of the concealer on the outer portion of the eye. I'm pulling the brush from the lash line out towards the tail of the brow just to kind of clean up and define that edge. It is a clean brush with no product on it. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to work on the lower lash line. I'm dabbing a little bit more of the concealer down there. And then I'm using the smudger end once again just to blend that concealer all the way down along the lower lash line. And I'm also making sure that it connects up on that outer edge too. I'm using the Wet n Wild brush once again, the one that I applied the primer with, and I'm lightly tapping the brush over the concealer, the light one, just to make sure that it nicely fades into that deeper tone. And then I'm running the brush around the edges just to melt any harsh lines into the skin. I want the concealer to fade nicely into the skin, so that's why I'm buffing around the edges. Then I'm going to take a flat C-shaped brush, and I've picked up a little bit of my face highlighter. I'm dabbing a little bit of this over the light portion of concealer on the inner corner of the eye just to give it a subtle shimmer. It'll just make it pop a small bit more, and because it's a powder product, it's going to lock that concealer in place for the day too. For the rest of the eye, I'm taking up some of my translucent face powder, the Rimmel Stay Matte, on a Coastal Scents BR250 brush. And I'm just lightly dusting this over the top of the concealer just to set it in place. If you really want to make sure the concealer isn't going to budge or crease, you could add in an extra step and use some setting spray too. And the combination of the powder, the setting spray and the primer to begin with will really lock it in place and ensure it lasts for the duration of the day. For the waterline then, I'm using the NARS High Pigment Longwear Liner in the shade Rue Bonaparte. And then I've added some of the Eylure Smoky Eyelashes, followed by a couple of coats of the L'Oreal Air Volume Mascara to the top and bottom lashes. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. If you did, please do let me know. And I'll catch you all really soon.